What is going on, Internet? My name is Stephen Fleming, and welcome to my Wednesday show, the show where I talk about all the random things that I thought were interesting from the last couple of days. That being said, let's get into the first story of the day. This last Saturday was the White House Correspondents' Dinner, an event held every year by the White House where all the major players in the media that cover the White House on a day-to-day are invited. Normally this is a star-studded event with comedy and satire, and honestly this year wasn't really any different. A couple of interesting videos have been making the rounds on the internet, the first of which is Obama coming into what he calls his new entry music. The other noteworthy thing that came out of the dinner was Obama's movie he made with Steven Spielberg, announcing that they were doing a Lincoln-style movie on Obama's presidency. As always, links in the description down below, check out the videos if you want, and let's move on to the next story. Last week, a 19-year-old man with Tourette syndrome was told he could not get on a plane. Michael Doyle arrived last week at Washington, D.C.'s Reagan International Airport, with documentation of his condition in hand, as well as having given an advance notice to the airport that he was coming. As it turns out, airports are one of the most difficult places for people with Tourette's to be, because the harder they try to resist an outburst, the worse they get. That's exactly what happened to Michael. Although he made it through security, by the time he had gotten to the gate, he had yelled the word bomb almost 100 times. Despite the 2 hours of alienation that Michael experienced to get to his flight, he was refused entry at the gate by the pilot. JetBlue did issue free round-trip tickets to Michael after the event, but after something like that, I wouldn't be surprised if he gave up flying altogether. Alright, on to the next story. Some of you may have noticed today that a few movies have gone missing from your Netflix queues, as the service pulled almost 2,000 movies today. The event is actually being called Streamageddon by some people who are blowing it completely out of proportion. Yes, Netflix is losing some contracts from MGM, Warner Brothers, and Universal, but this happens all the time. Adding and deleting movies is a part of Netflix's everyday routine. In fact, since The Purge, they've already added 500 new movies. I went through Netflix today to see if I could find any differences, and honestly, it looks exactly the same, so I don't know why people are freaking out about this. One movie you guys are not going to be able to see on Netflix for quite some time just dropped its new trailer on Monday, and that is The Fast and Furious 6. To be completely honest, when I found out they were making another Fast and Furious movie, I actually laughed out loud. And when I did a little research, I found out that they already have a 7th movie scheduled for 2014. Who watches these things? The trailer looks like this, and it features everyone from the old gang back to chase each other with cars or shoot at each other or whatever the hell these movies are about, and marks the 12th year since the first movie has come out. But here comes the big shocker. These movies have netted $1.5 billion in the box office alone. So I want to ask you guys, do you like these movies? Do you watch these movies? Who do you know who watches these movies? Where is all this money coming from? Let's talk about something nice for a change. This 2-year-old girl was born without a windpipe, a condition that is fatal 99% of the time. Without a windpipe, she cannot breathe on her own, eat on her own, swallow, or drink on her own. The amazing part of this story is that doctors were able to grow this girl a brand new windpipe out of stem cells they took from her bone marrow. This is ridiculous technology, like sci-fi movie stuff. If I went back 50 years and told somebody that we would be growing human skin or organs and transplanting them into people's bodies, they would shoot me for being a wizard. The 9-hour surgery to transplant the windpipe was a huge success, and her parents said that doctors allowed her to have her first taste of real food. My next story comes out of Abbeville, Georgia, and while it's a great story, it's also kind of a sad story because it shows us how much racism there still is left in the world. I mean, I honestly feel like I'm going back in a time machine to a time where there were separate water fountains just by talking about this. Before last Saturday, the high school in Abbeville, Georgia still had non-integrated proms. That means one prom for all the black students and one prom for all the white students. Abbeville, Georgia had its first integrated prom last Saturday, and when they took to the internet to fund this event, they raised so much money that not only did they pay for this year's prom, but they also guaranteed that they'll be able to afford an integrated prom for next year. They actually said donations came from as far away as Australia. And that's proof that people all over the world just want people to love each other and not be racist and go to prom. Alright everybody, that's all I had to talk about for today's video. But before I finish up, I want to give a couple of shout outs to people who sent me ideas for today's video. The first idea I featured came from Matthew Martinez out of Odessa, Texas. And my next shout out goes to Taran Punaji for sending me this video from London, England. As always, links to all the videos and things I talked about in the description down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, comment, share with your friends, send me something if you want me to talk about it, and I will see you guys on Saturday.